on the record. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Great O'Clock, where we help entrepreneurs and regular people that just want to live their greatest life to step into their greatness and to deal with the challenges of entrepreneurship and as well as the hardships and challenges of life. Tonight's topic, we are going to be talking about potentiality, the gloom and gold of entrepreneurship. And when we talk about potentiality, we're just talking about the potential of what can happen in your life doing this kind of work and living your dreams. A lot of people think that entrepreneurship is the way that they are going to get financially free, and that it's just this cakewalk that you have a dream, you have a passion, and you step into it and everything just manifests. Not realizing the hard work that it takes to build a business. A business is a challenge. It is very tough sledding initially. So that's why we're talking about the gloom and the gold. Now, there is gold at the end of the rainbow if you are willing to persist and continue on your path. That is the initial startup phases, though, that a lot of people have not prepared themselves adequately for. So we're going to talk about everything from the top to the bottom tonight, and we're going to dig into it a little bit here for this next hour or so. The fun about having a business is the journey. Absolutely, Adam. That's true. You know, people are always worried about the destination, not loving the journey. You know, it's a process to everything. And as you continually build your business and grow yourself, you begin to learn and see different phases of things that need to change. And that's why you run into the challenges and the situations that happen in business. So the first thing the first subject we'll talk about, yes, it's always changing and things need to adapt. Absolutely. You cannot consider it a one-way street or just a direct road. It's always going to be turns and pivots involved in business. And you have to be willing and ready to adapt, not just maybe adapt, but ready to adapt and willing to do so as well. So, Anthony, I'll let you speak on
it. Real quick.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we should let people know exactly who we are quickly before we jump
absolutely. I was going to say, let's do a little bit of an introduction for all those that don't know who we are. Anthony, please please tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Anthony Vaughn, 24 years old, owner of Creation International, and my company does three things. We work with startup companies and entrepreneurs and teach them, about the word of entrepreneurship and how to start a company and really cultivate a beautiful and awesome culture. I work with network marketers where I do the exact same thing: leadership development, personal development, and culture development. And I do the exact same thing for companies and corporations. And I really work with there and help them with their staff and really cultivate a good culture that everyone can be excited about.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And I'm Gerald DuBose. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have 7 different businesses. My newest one, we do personal development, financial literacy, and we help businesses break through their ceilings with the marketing and sales plans so that they can become more profitable and in turn also become better people, because that's what this is all about, developing ourselves as we develop our businesses. So now we will go into the topics here. And if you guys have any questions, Adam, us well. So, just throw something out there if you have a question while we're going through this. And Lee as well, if you have a question or more than a snapshot, if you have a question, please just type it in the sidebar. We are always paying attention. This is an interactive discussion and not a talk. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the misconception I believe that people have is that entrepreneurship is going to be something where there will be overnight success. There is no overnight success. That is overnight success means over many nights, really. You're going to go through a period where that growth is going to take a while. So for people to think that you just have an idea, you start a business, and then I'm rich, I don't ever have to work again in my life. No, that's not how it works. There are challenges, there are pitfalls, there are adaptations that are necessary for you to get to the point where you are growing the business, which is another subject we'll talk about in a moment. But let's just get Anthony's viewpoint here on overnight success.
Well, bottom line, there is no success, that is cultivated overnight. There is no home run on the first try. And what I've learned in my business is, I tell people all the time, I studied and trained for 8 months on my mind before I even tried to do anything, before I even gave myself a first at bat, because I wanted to make sure that my value and my content was going to be good enough and competent enough to allow the marketplace to judge me and give me a second at bat. Because see, that's what people don't really understand, is they think that, I'm going to do everything it takes to get that first at bat. I'm going to knock it out the park. And if I don't, then I should just fall and go home and give up. And I want people to understand that that's really not the case. And that's really not what we're looking to do here. We're looking to have a long, sustained career in entrepreneurship and really understand that the content that you're pushing out to the world needs to be prepared, very much so. And then that it's very important that people understand that, this is a thing that's going to be here for the long run and not just for the short term.
Absolutely. I would sum that up in saying that entrepreneurship is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Yeah.
There is no 100-meter dash to growing your business to $1 million, $10 million type revenue companies. It's a long process. It's tedious. It takes a while. And it takes dedication, it takes commitment, it takes creativity, and it takes a lot of other people to be involved in order for that business to be that type of business where you're making and earning that kind of money. But that also plays into the fact of the person that's running it and the way that they're growing themselves.
Exactly.
Your business grows to the extent that you grow. Dance while you can. Miss Jamie is in the building. I already said hello, but I'm going to say it live on the feed just so everybody can hear your name and know that you are in the house. Jamie is phenomenal. She did her first Periscope today. I was so proud of her, man. She rocked it. She was standing out there and she was swinging with the big dogs. Keep doing what you're doing, Jamie. I know you're on your road to entrepreneurship. I love what you're doing. And Angela is in the building. Miss Citrus Life, how are you? That is so wonderful. Yes, I love you back. I love you back, Jamie. Believe me, this is all love. This is great. This is what this blab is built for. I believe this community was built so that we can connect with people that are like-minded on a similar path and that can help us and also sustain us through the hardships of growing whatever it is we're trying to grow, and just feeling that community that we need to feel when we're doing these type of ventures and going on that road of entrepreneurship, which a lot of times is solopreneurship. So a lot of times we're living there by ourselves. Angela is in the building. Angela's Citrus Life. She is a phenomenal sister, man. I don't know if you've met her yet. She is phenomenal. But okay, let's go back into it. So anyway, we were talking about overnight success and how does anybody feel about that? What do you feel about overnight success over there?
Well,
go ahead.
If I could, I just want to give people a definition that I learned not too long ago about success and what it really means. And success is adding dedication, adding value, and adding skill on a consistent basis to yourself so that when you decide to start a company, you guys are starting the company with a lot of value, with a lot of skill, with a lot of dedication. I think people don't understand that. Just to go back to the point that you made about always growing and developing yourself. I think, once people actually start to have a little bit of success in their company, in their organization, I just made a video about it. I believe they stop, developing themselves and they start to slow down on the development of themselves and they start to focus on the business. And I just wanted to give that, the definition of success. And really it's about, again, adding skill and adding maximum value to yourself and understanding yourself as much as possible and as consistent as possible so that your culture and community can really understand what you're about.
That is vital to anything. It's vital to life, actually. You have to continuously grow yourself because your income and your outcome in life is determined by the input of what you're putting inside of your own mindset and your heart set. I'll say even more so than your mindset. People see, let me get away from these crappy, and excuse me, y'all, I'm going to go in because this is my blab. So y'all just get ready for some craziness. the crap that people are just spewing little buzzwords. Oh, it's about your passion. Oh, it's about
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you have to be passionate. Oh, you have to find your niche. And no, 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 no. You do have to find what part of the market and what audience resonates with your message. True. See, but they're
Exactly.
using these buzzwords, not understanding what they really mean, and that is bothersome to me. So your income and everything is dictated upon the type of individual that you feel that you are, because that reflects to the world, and the world in turn puts a value on that, and you get a return on your investment, so to say. So I just feel that we have to look at what we are doing as individuals first before we can think about what our business is going to do next. So,
And, and just the final point, this is a very simplistic statement, but just the final point. If you just want to do your history and do your research, look back at all the great companies that we know. The Steve Jobs with Apple and Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, all these companies. I mean, these guys were trying for years to be incredibly successful. There is no overnight success whatsoever. And again, do your research on what passion truly means. Do your research on the personal development. Do your proper research, not only on the industry, but yourself, and really truly understand what you're getting into and how you can fit yourself into that marketplace so that you can, again, try to hit that home run. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll get to third base in your first shot. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll have a better advantage than others, but, just understand that you're not going to knock it out the park the first time, and that, it just takes persistence. So.
Absolutely. That is definite. We do have an open seat because I love interaction. I love being able to talk to the people that are here. If anybody wants to jump in the seat, and if they have anything they'd like to say, anything to add to that point about overnight success, growing yourself, and the importance of growing yourself more so than anything else, and understanding that this really is a marathon you're entering into. You are entering into something that is a lifetime, and it's about consistency and persistency that is going to get you to the success and the gold of growing your business the way that you would like to. So, is it anybody that would like to come up, or are you guys just good on the side? Angela dropped a bomb there. Success is what truly and intrinsically makes you joyful and happy enough to live life abundantly. I believe that. And I believe that if we measure and accept our small successes more, our frustration would be way less. See, people only want to celebrate the big wins, and the big wins don't come right away. And when they do, they aren't as sweet if you have minimized all the small things that got you there. I'm known for saying that your glory is in your story. And I should say it a little better than that. Your glory is in the ability to convey your story, because people pay you because they can relate to what you are doing and what you are saying. People pay you because you are adding something to their life and giving them hope, and they can see something different in themselves because of something you've said and something you've done. So I believe that is of the utmost importance for people to do. So anyway.
And I was going to say, and just to add on to what you said about the small successes, be incredibly grateful for those small successes, because there's a lot of companies right there right now that we know in the marketplace that are not having any success. So be thankful for those small successes. Don't be contingent, but be happy with your life at the moment, and just take it day by day, and really just ride it out. And like you said, again, just be very in tune and aware of what's going on, and all the successes that you are having, because, again, maybe it's the second or third or fourth time you will hit it out the park at some point. So
absolutely. I'd like to welcome J.C. Videz. Is that how you say that? Welcome to the room. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking about potentiality, the gloom and gold of entrepreneurship. We're talking about the hardships as well as what it's like when you get to the end of that road and you've achieved that measure of success that you were seeking. Oh, that's no problem. That's no problem, Jamie. Welcome back. Welcome back. This blab is still in beta, so sometimes people drop. Sometimes the sound is skewed. It's just a little different. You're welcome, brother. If you have anything you want to add right now, we were on the topic about overnight success, and we were mainly talking about, people needing to develop themselves so that they can grow themselves first more so that their business will grow to the extent that they want to grow. So that's what we were on. Now we'll go to our next part of the discussion, which we were talking about the pain of growing the business. Now here's where the gloom comes in. The gloom. This is where the true gloom comes in, because the initial phases of growing a business is maddening. Let's call it what it is. Let's not try to water it down or anything, because I'm here to be honest with people. It doesn't matter how much money you have when you initially started that business. The trek of getting the business going and continue it and getting it to the growth stage alone is so heart-wrenching sometimes. Yeah. You lose friends and family and the money thing. Oh my gosh, we'll talk on that later, but just the ability to be able to maneuver yourself and keep yourself steadfastly on the vision and keep the people around you supported is a challenge, to say the least. So, Anthony, I know you have something that you wanted to add to that. We have Claude Diamond. Welcome, Claude. How are you?
Now I'm gonna go back onto what you were just saying about, really touching on the people that are supporting you, because I think that the marketing strategies and the tactics and the tools, all those things can be learned. But for me, what I saw and what personal development helped me out was with understanding that what I'm doing right now is positive for me. And I had to be aware and happy with that, because I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of the people that I loved, not understand what I was going through. Because when I first got into business, I looked at some of the high achievers and they were, intensely going deep into personal development. And I realized that personal development kept them level-headed and kept them pushing and kept their motivation and their innovation and their creativity going. Because again, my mother, some of my girlfriend, a lot of the people that I loved and I cared about did not understand my mind. They didn't understand why I was pushing so hard and I was making no money. What am I chasing after? So I think, for a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they need to understand that not a lot of people are going to understand you. I guarantee that most of the people in your circle are not going to get exactly what you're doing, but you have to be fully engaged and fully aware and fully present of who you are and exactly where you're trying to go, and just believe in that to the utmost. So
exactly, faith is very important, but faith and action are almost unbelievably unstoppable if you have them both, and faith is really just an unwavering belief in something, and that's important, that you believe even when you can't see, because when you start out, we all think that it's going to be one way, and then we hit that wall and we see that challenge. Yes, results going to the bank. Yes, results equal going to the bank. Absolutely. So the challenge comes in when you hit that first failure. How do you deal with it?
Yeah.
And then you hit that second failure and that third failure, and you get that fourth rejection or that fifth rejection, or you get that contract that you've been working on for 2 weeks, and this guy, after 2 weeks, and you've done all this stuff, and this client decides, you know what, I think I'm going to go with somebody else.
Exactly.
It can be almost demoralizing if your focus is not on the end of the journey.
Yes, sir.
You sit there and you're like, I've been pouring my heart into this thing and it's not growing. It's just that it's not time for it to grow, because you have to be ready for rejection. Rejections are good, actually. What's the first thing a baby learns how to say? Even before mommy or daddy, 8 out of 10 babies can say no before they can say mommy or daddy. So rejection is something that you should kind of become accustomed to and actually seek it out, because the more rejections that you go through, it gets you closer to that first yes. And that first yes turns into a second yes, and a third yes, and a fourth yes. But it's getting to those yeses. It's getting through those no's. You have to get through the no's to get to that one yes. When I used to train marketers, when I used to train telemarketers back in the day, we used to have what we called a marketing zip code. Well, thank you so much, Gypsy. It's a blessing to have you here. Thank you so much for being part of this discussion. I appreciate it. If you want to come up and share some thoughts, you can. If you have any questions, we have Miss Emily Evans just came in the building. Hello, Miss Emily. How are you? Right now, we're just talking about the challenges of growing a business. And when I used to train marketers, like I said, when I first started way back many years ago, we had what we called the telemarketing zip code. We used to call it 10050255101. And I will break that down for you guys. What that is you had to make 100 phone calls. You will get 50 answers. 25 times you will talk to the right people. You will get through your pitch 10 full times. And one person will convert into a sale. See, the difference is now we're in a microwave society where they're like, okay, the first person I pitch should say yes. No, and especially not in this day and age. Well, hello, Miss Megan, how are you? Not in this day and age, absolutely not. The first thing you have to understand is that you're building relationships. Whereas back then it was just about get the sale, get it as quickly as you can. You know, it was one call closes. The days of the one call close are done. You know, unless you have developed a relationship with them already. And
Hold on,
okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Are you walking on a
treadmill,
sir?
Is that aggravating?
No, it's not. There you go.
That is cool. My man, he's getting his exercise and he's getting his mental and heart exercise at the same time. I really appreciate that, Claude.
Can I jump in? I don't want to interrupt.
Sure, go ahead.
I love half the stuff you say, and I disagree with the other half. You forced me to come on.
Hey, that's what I wanted you to do. That's okay. This is here to be an open discussion, and yes, please add what you feel.
I am a sales trainer. I love sales. I think the salesman comes first. I think sales is a skill that you have to practice and work on in order to be successful in any business. You have to study the science and art of persuasion. You have to be superb at these skills in order to make any business work. And you have rights in the sales process. And you do have a right to qualify the prospect, and you can close or at least qualify in the first phone call. I'm sorry, that was a mouthful.
No. I mean, hey, we can talk about this because that's my background too. I didn't say that you couldn't. I'm just saying that you can definitely qualify people. It's just that now in this day and age where information so-called is so key, people want to research, people want to go back and look, and
why?
You have to develop.
Well, ask yourself why do they have such strong defense mechanisms to research, to question, to put up the defense shield, to think about it, to talk to their spouse, to call me in 2 weeks. Why do they behave like that today?
What's the story? What's the story behind that emotion, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to understand. I mean, now you don't take one no. That's exactly what I was talking about.
I actually tell people to say no to me. How's that for reverse psychology?
Yeah, that is great. Because I'm there with you. I'm absolutely there with you.
How about being totally transparent and saying, hey, Gerald, listen, let's have a dialogue here. I'll ask you questions. You ask me questions. I want you to feel comfortable enough to say no to me if we're not a good fit. Is that a fair roadmap, sir, before we begin?
Absolutely. That's a great way to start.
Yeah, have you ever heard that before? I'm still waiting. I teach this stuff and I'm still waiting to hear it.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard it put that way. I teach this stuff too, and one of the things I tell people is take them through the 3 Ps, what I like to call the 3 Ps, which is possible and probable will leave you to plausible, how plausible it is whether they should do business with you or not.
Yeah.
So we start taking them through the psychology process of the sale.
Excellent.
Initially. And I even tell my guys, my sales team, the first thing I tell them, I say, look, go take them to the ridiculous first, just so you can break down a small barrier that they're going to try to put up. You're taking away the bricks from them. So you ask them ridiculous questions that are absurd and will make them come outside of that comfort zone, and it kind of lowers their wall of resistance. So one thing I would tell them is say, hey, ask them, all right, what price will get me absolutely thrown out of this meeting? If I told you that it was this price, you will absolutely say it's no way in hell I'm doing business with you today. And that qualifies them as well, because it kind of puts something in their brain that they don't want to see. So Absolutely, Claude. Man, dang, I love this. See, man, now we're going into the sales part of it. I love this. Thank you so much for jumping in.
Is the $1 million skill what we're doing here? The social media, live streaming. I'm getting I'm doing what you guys are doing. As a sales trainer, I get new clients all the time from Meerkat, Periscope. I have 200 and something videos on YouTube. I constantly am putting out content because I'm a big secret. No one woke up and said, "Hey, Claude Diamond, here's my money. Here's my MasterCard," right? And
absolutely.
And the thing is, what you guys are doing, first off, the marketing for whatever business you do. I think you're both coaches and sales trainers and things like that also.
Yes.
And this is great. The second thing is, to me, sales is the $1 million skill. I don't care. You could be the best at whatever you do, but if you don't have the I don't want to use the word charisma, but the ability for people to say, "Hey, I like this dude. You know, this guy's okay. I like him. I trust him." You blow away the competition when you become great at sales. And to me, that's what everybody's missing. So when you started talking about this, man, you hit my hot button.
Yeah. Oh man, that's why we wanted to have this discussion. That's why we're calling it Great O'Clock, because I want people to understand that sales is the very lifeline of every business. That's why people treat salespeople so differently. You know, administrators and people usually get upset. Like, why do you treat the sales? Because they're making sure you get a paycheck. Don't you understand that? You know, if we don't have sales, you can't get a check.
Does anybody, when they held their little baby the first time in their arms in the hospital, say, "There's my son or daughter, the future salesperson"? Nobody says that. Right? I probably did. But, you know, I love sales. It's always put food on my table. I talk to wonderful people around the world. Now that the technology is coming, we can make new friends everywhere. Do you realize how great it is to be in sales right now with any starting business? As long as it offers people value.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key to the sales process that a lot of people miss, is the value portion.
We ought to let JC hop in here.
Yeah, we're gonna let JC hop in, and then we're gonna move on to the next subject. And while I got you guys here, because I want you guys input, because this is about keeping it flowing, and I really love the feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening.
No, you can stay. I'm just saying we're gonna let JC jump in, or if you want to jump off, you can.
I just don't. Am I making you? Is this bouncing gonna drive you crazy?
Oh no, it's not distracting to me at all.
Okay, thank you.
How you guys doing?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. How are you?
Good. I'm from New York, you know, so I have a digital agency firm, you know, so I'm talking to everybody, I guess. but no, it's good to hear, man. And I hear you guys. It's hard work, and you got to enjoy what you do. That's one thing, you know, and it's part of sales, you know. It's one of the things I do enjoy, you know, going and seeing a client and showing a passion of what you do also helps with sales. You know what I mean? If customers see that, if you know your stuff and you love your stuff, they will see that, you know, and if you're genuine, they'll love you and they'll buy from you.
I love what you just said, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. And the thing you're alluding to is, I always tell my sales guys, energy is contagious. If you aren't excited about what you're selling, why the heck is somebody else excited about what you're selling? Right. You know, so go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can an introvert be successful in sales?
Absolutely, because I'm a natural introvert.
Oh yeah, right.
I am. It doesn't seem like it. I always tell people I'm the shy guy with a big mouth. Now I understand that a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and you know, being able to relate to people, I'm good at that. I'm good at building rapport. I'm good at talking with people and talking about the things that are stopping them from doing the things they would really like to do. So the psychology of it is what intrigued me about sales and marketing. That's what drove me to want to be part of that. So
you're like me, I think. I'm the guy who sat in the back of the classroom, never asked a pretty girl to dance, never made eye contact. And then one day I decided I was going to become an introvert. Now I'm an omnivert. I have a button. I can switch back and forth.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. That's me there. That's me too. And wow, this is great. Okay, so now what we were talking about, the next subject of what we were talking about, and if you guys want to chime in, go ahead. Anthony, you have something to add before we move on?
Yeah, well, you guys are going on a tangent about the sales, so it's kind of backtracking all the way to the beginning of what we were talking about. But just the final part about the pain, right? The pain and the suffering of entrepreneurship. I think for me, once I started analyzing it and looking at it like a test, right, or an experiment, if such, and looking at it and saying, okay, the skills that I've acquired today, are they going to help me move forward towards my goal? And if not, take the data, let me go back and figure out what I need to add to get closer to my goal. And just understanding that and playing that dialogue in my head day after day kind of allowed me to take the rejection in a more positive way. I remember you were talking about the rejection piece. And for me, again, I look at everything like an experiment. If I get told no, then I need to figure out the data. I need to figure out the skills that I have right now and see if I can move forward in a different light and see what I need to add to the equation. So for me, that's the way I view it. And I know some other entrepreneurs that view it that way as well. So.
Absolutely. I could concur with that. I mean, it's just that, the sales portion is sales. We get a bad rep. Let's just be honest. A lot of people look at sales guys and they're like, oh, you're a sales guy. They don't view us that way. But I'm not understanding that's how important sales is in order for your business to even be able to sustain itself, because there is no business without a sale. There is no matter what you do. If you're a coach, if I don't find somebody that can use my service, I'm out of business. It doesn't matter. So there has to be an end user and there has to be a sales transaction in order for the business to continue. Now, I see something here. Another gypsy has a question. How do you inspire your team to be better and on your social media platforms? I'll open that up to Anthony. How do you do that? That is a question on the floor.
It's a good question. How do you inspire your team to be better? I would like to ask her before I answer that question, what is your culture? That's my big thing. That's what I do. What's the culture? What is the vibe in your organization? Because if they trust you, if they care about you deeply and you care about them deeply, they're going to work hard for you regardless. Bottom line. And I'm not saying that they don't, but I would just, if she could answer, I just want to know that, and then I could move forward and answer the question more accurately from my standpoint. Anyone else can give her an answer, but I would like to know her culture, and then maybe I can give her more directed information.
Yeah, it's a good answer. Culture,
Yeah.
I like that. I think communicating your expectations up front and not tolerate. When I get people, I coach people, and when they start giving me the excuses, oh, my grandmother's wagon wheels broke, Claude, so I couldn't make any phone calls. I get out the magic box of tissues and I start going, oh, that's so horrible. See, I'm a tough coach, but only because I love people. I want to see them succeed. And I think if we don't communicate what our expectations are up front, we don't create that. I love the word culture of winning, of success, of support for each other, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You're just going to go slowly, downhill.
So I want to answer one part of that question is how to inspire your team to be better. I think one of them is educate your team, and you could build your team. And like you said, you guys have a culture and educate that culture within your company. And I think you can make that better. And then just apply that to social media.
And just to preface on education, I know with some of the people that I work with, they see me studies 4 to 6 hours a day for my business and just leading by example. So if your team is seeing you put in, a lot of hours as far as understanding the marketplace, understanding the best ways to sell, understanding the best ways to market, if they want to make money, if they want to be successful and they look at you as a leader, then they're going to follow you in that direction. So that's one thing that I've done.
I agree.
Thank you for the
props.
Yeah.
That is very true. I say one way that I inspire my team is one, I first of all incentivize them. I have no problem acknowledging their successes and putting it out for other people to acknowledge their success so that they feel part of the culture. 2 is training. I'm consistently training them, giving them the best tools and strategies so that they can do their job better. And 3, nothing ever beats some cash in their pockets. If you can afford them some type of cash incentive or cash bonus for performing at a higher level, it drives the whole team to want to do better. And especially if you make it a team performance thing and not an individual performance thing, it really drives a different type of culture. Fred here says, there's a certain amount of perceptual prejudice when somebody says they're in sales. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Sadly, there are a certain percentage of sales folks that help perpetuate that prejudice. And he called me the good reverend. It's a running joke here that I am the reverend of blab. So, yeah, there's a certain amount of prejudice that comes into that. So I'll go to Claude, because Claude's a sales guy through and through like myself. So what do you feel about what Fred had to say right there?
I feel people have to come in there and want to do their best. We got to communicate our expectations. We've got to tell them what is expected. We have to be not scared to fire people or fire the prospect in many cases. It's a word I use. Money should be an incentive, but money should I don't have a team per se. I'm a solopreneur. I work with my wife. I have a very low overhead, very high profit business using technology. So I don't have to worry too much about a team. I do have a lot of outside contractors, and I have very high expectations from them. I communicate what I want, when I want it, what I expect. I love paying people whatever they deserve, but my expectations are very high, and I try to communicate that right up front. And giving people extra awards in sales contests and things like that. I want people who have such high self-esteem, they want to do a great job right from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, now, see, I'll go into my culture in a second. I want to get to everybody, because what I do with my sales guys and the standards I have, a lot of people think are crazy. But JC, what did you have something to say?
As far as the sales is concerned, I mean, I'm the president / janitor of my company, you know what I mean? But and I do sales, you know what I mean? But I don't say I do. I mean, sales. I like to educate people, as far as when I sell, I educate what they're expecting and what they're gonna get. Sometimes I even sell without me knowing that I'm selling. Just saying, hey, I help this client over here, with this product or this service is over here, and they see that, and again, it goes back to being genuine, and I mean, I can see what I guess Fred, is that his name?
Yeah, that's Fred.
Yeah, that is for the people say I'm in sales, but you got to say more to that. If you say you're in sales, it's boring, right? You got to say, hey, I sell airplanes. I say a Mercedes Benz. They make it more interesting, because if you say you're in sales, kind of boring, right? You got to talk about what you do. You know what I mean? Have, again, a passion. I think that's what happens in business, is having passion. And if you say you're in sales, hey, you can sell, like I said, airplanes or widgets, right? But you have to have a passion for it. And I think that will help you.
How can you succeed in anything without passion, right?
Right, yeah.
Have we all had shitty jobs and shitty bosses that we had no enthusiasm for? How important is it to find your passion with a reasonable or practical product or service?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, that it's definitely important to be able to convey your message with the energy of which you created it. And I'm saying that to say that whatever it is that you do, you need to love it so much that it becomes infectious to people.
Amen.
You can either infect or affect people with what you do. So I say that it should be contagious. It's like it's everybody in the room that's there can feel that you really love what you are doing. And when you do it in that manner, there's very little doubt that people can ever question whether you are genuine about what you're selling and whether this product could be something that could be good for them. Now, whether they want to use it or not is a separate issue. That's where the rebuttals and stuff start coming in.
But if they do
Anthony
exactly
had something.
No, I would.
Go ahead.
No, you guys can continue. I was going to say I was going to move on to, once you guys are done, I just wanted to just for the entrepreneurs that I know that are really looking for this platform to try to get through some issues that they're having. But you guys can continue. I'll kind of wait patiently.
I was just going to say, if you do everything that Gerald just said and you do it every day, where you communicate to enough people with enthusiasm, with passion, the right thing, man, you can't help but succeed in sales. By the way, I love calling myself a sales. I am proud to be a salesman. I love being a salesman, regardless of the product. I've sold many different products, real estate, tools, all kinds of things. Sales to me is just the $1 million skill. If you give good phone and you have all the things that you guys are talking about today, you can't help but succeed.
Exactly. It is a natural course of action that success will come. Now, the measure of your success is determined by how frequently and how often and how sustained you do it, but you will have a measure of success, certainly. Now, Anthony, we were getting ready to move on, but we had another question over here.
That's what I was getting to.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead. No, you go ahead and read it.
No, she was just talking about culture. I'm going to talk about culture. I'm not going to relate it to sales. I'm kind of let you guys talk about that. We've been given a lot of detail about sales, but the culture aspect of it, I want to talk about. And I'm going to give an example to the company that I'm starting right now with one of my clients. And bottom line, every single person that we hire, we form a system in place every 6 months that allows them to move forward through the company rapidly. And it's a requirement of them to do so. Now, that's very unorthodox, and I got that from a few other companies that I researched. Now, the reason why I do that is because I show them, bottom line, I care about you and I expect growth. If you're not growing, I do not want you around me or anybody else that's working for me. And I'm very serious and very clear about that. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to help put food on the table for your family. Now, if you are skilled enough to take my job, you have the opportunity to do so. Bottom line. Now, a lot of people, that's intimidating. A lot of owners and CEOs and people in the world of entrepreneurship have too much. I'm trying to find the word to use. Have too much confidence, or I can't find the right word to use. But they won't do that. They won't build a culture around their company like that because they have too much pride in their own organization. But for me, if I have a staff member that sees how he can work his way up to the very top of the company, go ahead. I'm going to give you every single system, every single test, all the tools that you need. And then the bottom line in my culture, either they're going to do two things. And I know me and Gerald touched on this our last video. They're going to do two things. Either going to move through the company or they're going to go off and start their own company. Bottom line. Those are the only two things that are going to happen. I want them to move all the way up or they're going to go out and start their own because I want to build growth mindset people and I want to build leaders. We have way too many followers. So I do that with my culture and my companies, and it's worked out well for me. And the people that I work with care about me because they see that I truly care about putting food on their table and providing for their family and really giving them the best service and dedication that I can possibly give them. So that's just me. That's a very unorthodox approach, but that's me.
Absolutely. Claude or JC, do you have something you want to add to that? And then we're going to start rotating because there's a couple people in here that have some stuff that they probably want to get up to say. I definitely want to give Fred a chance to come up and give some viewpoints. Fred is excellent as well. So how do you guys feel about creating a culture, breeding a winning culture, so to say?
I relate to mostly solopreneurs, kitchen table people, and sales, startup businesses, and stuff like that. When you say culture and starting a company, you're talking about employees, I presume.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, you could have a culture without the staff as well. But yeah.
I kind of I don't know that much about that because I kind of relate to. Most of the people that I work with have their own business, real estate agents and individual salespeople and stuff like that. And they use outside people. They use independent contractors and things like that. I really don't want employees. I've been one.
Right.
So I don't know if I can relate to speak on that topic as well as you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
JC, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, actually, I have a client right now who is a foot doctor who's opening up like 3 clinics and stuff like that. He had just hired 4 new doctors, and he is developing a culture, his processes in his clinic, and again, it goes about to teaching, and he's been in practice for over 30 years, and these guys are straight out of med school. But he's grooming them like to be managers and potential owners of a practice to learn how to run a business. You got to teach them from you know, from the basic, from fundamentals to running a whole business, accounting, everything. That's something that you don't teach in medical school, you know what I mean? How to run a business, you know what I mean? So I think if you teach the employees everything, you know, like I said, I was kidding around before when I was saying, you know, you become a janitor to, you got to work yourself up. If you do every single task in the company, guess what? You know how to run a company, you know, whether it be, you know, mopping floors to accounting, to being the VP to the CEO. If you know how to do every single job, that is building a culture within, you know, your company.
That is very, very true. I want to give some other people a chance to jump up here. I thank you so much,
no problem, brother.
JC. I thank you, Claude, for jumping in, man. We're going to be following each other. I know we're going to be talking about some more sales stuff because I'm going to do a blab on sales. I'm quite sure you'll do one as well.
I'm gonna throw out my LinkedIn URL up there so that you guys can add me on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. All right, great. So now we have a couple open seats, and I will address that while I bring my next couple people up here as they jump in the seats. I believe the way you build a winning culture, one, is you invest in your people. You're asking them to invest their time, their hopes, and their beliefs in you. So you have to invest in them. And what I mean by that is educating them, giving them the opportunities to advance and to grow as individuals as well as grow within your company. You know, nobody wants to feel like they're stuck in a certain situation and that if they don't do a certain and that if they do a great job, they can't go anywhere. So it's all about empowering your people rather than pushing them down and trying to keep them at a certain level. I want all my people to be able to grow, to be able to earn a excellent living while working with me. I've been fortunate enough in my business to say that over the 13 years that I've been in business, I've had a 97% retention ratio with the people in my company, and the 3% that have left me went to start their own business. So I believe that goes to the fact of a little bit I can take some credit for pouring something into them that empowered them enough to know that they don't want to work anywhere else unless they're creating their own. And that starts from the top down. So that is one way you breed that type of culture, is to, one, give them something to look forward to. There's nothing like a compelling future for anybody. That's very important. They have to have something to look forward to. So I'll bring my brother Fred. Fred is phenomenal. He drops a lot of bombs. So I'm going to let Fred take the floor and talk about a winning culture. And welcome, Michael. Thank you for joining. I'll come to you right after Fred.
That's fine. Thank you.
It's fortuitous you were talking about culture, because I just recently published an article on that, and I got a whole bunch of speaking gigs out of it. And it was mostly because I wrote the article because I was angry about what people were talking about in terms of culture, because you were getting a lot of this real frou-frou kind of crap, and I said, no, this is not what culture is about. They were confusing corporate cultures with leadership cultures and social cultures, and what Creation CNA was saying. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Anthony, how are you?
What I found absolutely fascinating, what you were saying is spot on. And in fact, more people should talk like that. You can have whatever your culture is. Remember, you're the guy who designed it if you're in a leadership position. So a lot of people like using that term, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it usually gets assigned to Peter Drucker. Now, if you aren't a graduate of the University of Google, you might actually look it up and find out that Drucker never said that. In fact, it was Paul Fields from Ford, and when it was during a Harvard Business Review interview, and they said, that's a brilliant line. Who said that? Drucker said it. That was in 2006, and of course, since Drucker passed away in 2005, he couldn't take him up on it. But it was one of those sort of leadership urban legends that get out there, and in fact, that's not what Drucker said. Really, what is strategy? Strategy is your communication of your leadership, your higher intent, and the ends and ways and means of getting there. So if your culture eats anything, it's eating that expression of your leadership.
Yes.
Okay, it's not eating the strategy itself. Now, the fact that you crafted a strategy that that people don't share that vision or its objectives or lines of operation or whatever, then that's another issue. But when people start talking about culture, organizational culture, team cultures, let's remember that team culture really only exists of three things. the tenure of your leadership, the tenor of your leadership and your style that which you employ it, the management processes that you enable, and the organizational structures that you've set up. That's really what organizational culture is. So if you are not enamored with your sales culture or your organizational culture and you're in a leadership position, you may want to take a hard look in the mirror.
Absolutely.
Because you've enabled it. You've created it.
Absolutely.
And you know, I always say that bad leadership only exists because people tolerate it or promotes its like self. So if that same way happens with culture as well. Those three things are what really enable a corporate culture. So if you want to change a corporate culture, you want to change one or all three of those things.
Fred, one
I
second.
don't want culture being used as the whipping boy for bad leadership either.
Right. Fred, 1 second. You have people taking notes. I told you guys that Fred is phenomenal. They said, can you repeat those three things one more time so they can get it and be able to utilize it?
Well, I should say, go read my LinkedIn article on it, and therefore, I get more people and will check the box. And I'd love to take credit for this, but that actually came from an organizational expert, from a guy from the School of Advanced Military Studies, where I was a student there at Leavenworth a number of years ago, which is a subset of Harvard. And what it is, it's a guy named Mike Jeffrey said, listen, whether you're looking at the Marine Corps, the U.S. Air Force, the Canadian Army, the Lower Slobodian Army, each of it has its own culture, and its culture really comes from three things. Its leadership environment, okay, its leadership style, its leadership tenure, number one. The management processes, for lack of a better term, the management processes that leadership system enables and sometimes enforces. And third, the structures that people are forced to operate in, especially ones that have rigid structures end up having relatively rigid cultures that go with it. So if you really boil it down to those three things from a corporate point of view, what they call institutional culture, those are the three things.
Awesome. Thank you. See, Fred just drops bombs, man. I mean, he
bombs. Well, tell an artilleryman, but yes, okay, I got that. Yeah.
Well, I did forget he's a military man. You know, but Fred really brings a wealth of knowledge, and that is very true. You know, your culture is created by your senior leadership, and I mean, not trying to go off path here, but you know, it was written a long time ago in a good book that a lot of people follow. It says, without vision, the people will perish. So if you aren't creating a vision for your people that will compel them and put that structure in place, then it's going to be a lot of chaos within your corporation, your structure, or your organization, I'll say, not necessarily your corporation. So definitely, Fred.
One of the things I first point out to leadership when they start saying, I'm not too happy about my organizational culture, we start having a long talk about, well, you built it.
Yes. If you build it,
and not only that, you're enabling it.
Yes.
Oh, no, the middle managers are, no, don't even start that. Don't even start that kind of stuff. So, but normally I'm hired to be the bad guy anyway. So that's a good point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Michael, you've been waiting patiently over there.
I'm taking it all in here.
What is your feelings on the matter of culture?
Well, you know, I don't agree 100% with what Fred's saying, and of course nobody agrees 100% with anything. You know, you can't necessarily, and I'm not sure what businesses you're all talking about because I just came in. However, it is possible that the culture that exists in your business is not the culture you created if you purchased a business or something of that nature. If
Absolutely. That's why when certain guys buy a business and transformation doesn't work.
That's right. So, you know, it's not a one cure for everything, so to speak. Well, but it's an interesting topic.
But if you do buy a business and you're not happy with the culture, then the only person who can change it
is you.
So. And it usually starts with one of those three things. And it's no different in the Army. When you take over a unit, and individual units have their own little microcultures. If you don't believe me, talk to anybody who's ever been a Marine before. So what do CEOs do? New CEOs, they have a tendency to tease They change this, the tenor of the leadership, or they change some of the processes or training that's gone on. Absolutely, in terms of what Michael is saying, if you inherit a bit of a cultural nightmare, and people do, it's a long road to hoe to change it.
It happens every day.
It is.
Happens every day, and it's very possible that the business, the nature of the business, is successful in spite of the culture. So it's a gradual change. You don't want to ruin the business, but you definitely want to reel the culture back into where, your vision, what it should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, to a certain extent, that kind of almost goes back to what Fred said. It's not 100%, but eventually you have to, like you said, mold that culture to what you need it to be in order for it to perform in the manner that you're creating your vision for that business for. It's no longer whatever former entity it was. It's about to turn into something else, unless you brought that business in and was already successful, and you just kind of want to sustain it, but add a couple of other things that you see of where you feel that the business can improve and go. Because everybody comes in, wants to put their stamp on anything. When any new manager, any new vice president comes into anything, or especially an owner, they want to put their stamp on it. So, to a certain extent.
I have a number of friends who do this interim management shtick, right? They go in, actually, I like to call it more interim leadership than interim management, because they're usually hired to go in, especially with a retiring CEO in a family business. So they'll bring in an interim leader. He fine-tunes it so it's ready for sale to somebody else. And in some cases, as Michael suggests, you can do some and as the Reverend certainly has said, you can. I think it's a much cooler name for you, by the way.
Thank you.
If you had to call it, man, I go to church every Sunday. If you can go in and you can fine-tune certain things, okay, you can, as I say, spit shine certain areas. You accentuate the positive and just sort of nail down some of the smaller items. But in other cases, you'll walk into certain companies, and family businesses are absolutely famous for this, where you got to kind of come in and say, "All right, there, I'm the new sheriff. This is the new school marm, and things are going to change," and away you go. So it all depends on what degree of radical change is required and how much time you've got to do it. And especially if you are taking over a company for 6 months so it can be sold. In large family businesses, I do a lot of work down in Arabia as an example, and they're mostly family businesses down there. You got to go in, and sometimes you've got to be less than pleasant.
I purchased
You definitely have to be forceful about it.
I purchased a family business that I was actively engaged in for 20 years almost, and it's family business is definitely a different dynamic than most people understand.
So you were part of that family business culture.
I was part of that culture that I did not create.
Now you're still part of it, right?
Wow, we have a lot.
At least you were in the position where you knew the situation in that family business.
Oh, absolutely.
You've already said to yourself a dozen times, "Well, if I was running things, this is what I would do differently," right? So,
well, no, not necessarily, because right isn't always best, so to speak. I know that that's going to sound extreme, but sometimes having a little impairment and dysfunction, but having a great customer service result, it's easier to overlook.
Yeah, family businesses are very tough, and we're getting so many great comments over here. I just want to acknowledge some of the things that are being said. Australia Wow says, mold the staff with a solid set of mission, vision, and values. I believe that's a great way to look at it when you're coming into a purchased business and not your own thing that you created. And then D. Scott says, culture is the most difficult thing to change. You must be intentional and persistent. Now, that is very true. Sometimes if you purchase a business, it's really difficult, and it's a long road to hoe to get that culture to change, because they've been doing it a certain way for so long. But they know they have to get on board, or otherwise they're not going to be part of it. But if it's not broken, don't fix it. I believe that as well.
To a degree. One of the ways I was able to do it was to actually I hired because of the relationships in a small business, I only have 18 full-time employees. Everybody knows everybody. We know each other's life. We know. So unfortunately, there's a really tough distinction between friend and employer. And what I did was about 4 or 5 months ago, I brought in someone to act directly under me, to supervise my staff, to remove me from that so I could more easily implement the changes that I need. So now he owns that. And it's actually been a real good thing.
Awesome.
Chad, I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I'll open up the seat because I know that Benny wants to get in here and there's a couple other people. But I thank you guys. And Fred, as always, brother, you know, we were on a blab this morning and it was phenomenal. So yeah, just please stay here and please keep contributing.
I'm staying here for a learning experience because I'm hosting my first blab tomorrow night, so I want to watch how you do it.
All right, excellent.
I'm gonna get a caller too. I don't know if I could pull it off with the same style and aplomb that you do, but I'll try to
turn yours around. It'll be fine. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll bail out.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Australia Wow is coming up. Well, he jumped back out, but what we were talking about, just getting back to the original topic, was potentiality, the gloom and gold of entrepreneurship. And all these things are challenges that entrepreneurs face while trying to grow their business to whatever level it is that they are trying to grow it to. You have the building a culture. You have the having to deal with the sales team. How do you set up your sales structure? What are your processes? All these type of things are the things that challenge you as you begin to try to grow that business. So right now we're going to have D. Scott. He's been dropping a lot of knowledge over there in the corner, so we're going to welcome him up. But we want to move on to, we have questions and other topics that we're trying to get to. So we're going to be moving rather quickly.
Hey, Gerald, I have a little bit of time, brother. Just wanted to let you know. So, yeah.
Go ahead. What?
No, I was saying I have a little bit of time left if anybody wanted to hop on, or we could, I didn't know what topic you wanted to jump into.
Oh no, we were going to talk about when is the right time. We're going to talk about timing now.
Yeah.
Which is one of the subjects that we wanted to talk about. The timing of when do you feel is the time for you to jump full time into your business?
Yeah.
That is something Anthony and I have talked about pretty extensively. So I will give Anthony the floor to let him open it up, and we're going to welcome D. Thank you for stepping up, brother. Great to see you. We're going to get to you in 1 second. Anthony, talk about timing. What is the importance of timing here? Benny, I would love to have you come up, brother, because I've met Benny too. Benny is phenomenal. If you want to come up, please come up and have a seat with us and sit and chit chat with us for a second.
Well, very simply put, you have to view entrepreneurship and the world of business like a marathon, in my opinion. And before you decide to run a marathon, you obviously have to train. And I don't think enough entrepreneurs that are just starting and just jumping in, I don't think they train their minds enough to understand the content of the marketplace they want to jump into. I feel like they're just jumping into it, and they're just getting swamped in the experience and in the process of that. So, what I teach my clients is go through and really form an accurate perception of the marketplace, get a true understanding of what you're jumping into, get a little bit of knowledge into your mind, actually not only get it into your mind, but experience it, right, on a chemical and emotional level, so that once you jump into that, world of entrepreneurship or that marketplace, whatever it's going to be, you actually understand it fully and emotionally you're attached to it so that you actually can push forward and be a little bit more motivated when you're actually going through your struggle. So, just to sum it up, that's the big thing that I teach all the time is form an accurate perception, have a little bit of an understanding of what you're jumping into and really experience it. Just don't have content in your mind. Me and you, Jared, have talked about this extensively. Understanding content and knowing content and experiencing content are completely different things. And the right timing, I think, is when you actually have experienced the marketplace that you want to jump into.
Okay, excellent. D. Scott, would you like to add?
So when do you jump in? Is that
yes?
When do you jump in? So it's interesting. You deal with so many people that want to start businesses, and so what do you need for a business? A a problem, a solution, and someone willing to write a check, right? So
yes,
when you got enough checks coming in, or you have the resources to be able to kind of sustain yourself until you build that cycle through, it's hard. It's going to be different. I mean, there is no formula for that necessarily,
right.
but you got to have a big enough problem and a solution. And I think a big issue I have is people under evaluating what capacity is.
Yes.
So I was working with a massage therapist. She just moved her practice from one city to another, and she charges like $70 a session, I think, something like that. And her goal is 40 sessions a month. So you can tell instantly what kind of budget she's going to have to be working with for a consultant.
Yeah, minimal,
right?
minimal to none. Minimal to none.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know what? Let me point you to some resources that you can use. But this is not something that I could get involved in. But every business has something like that. So if you sell hours, you're going to be capped out. If you sell boxes, then you're just looking at what's the sales force, how does that get out there, what's your upfront investment, and so forth. So there's different ways to look at it. But when do you make that jump? There's no formula, I don't think.
Hey Scott, when because it seems like you have some knowledge. When do you make the jump? Just for some of the viewers, when do you make the jump mentally? Besides all the other stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Decision to just say, you know what, I want to quit my job, or I want to start easing back from my job. I want to really jump into this world.
I think that it's all about mindset.
Yeah,
it's. I always love it when it's the presidential cycle, because there'll be a time when in the media the candidate is going to make a transition. At least the media is going to make that transition, right? Where it goes from a candidate, and they'll make a comment about looking very presidential. There's a whole demeanor change. Way back when Barack Obama was candidate Obama, he was touring around the country in a motorhome that looked like a 7-Eleven store. Mm-hmm. Right? Had all the banners and, vote and all the stuff, right? Try to attract attention. Yes. Then there was a point where he ditched that and went into a black motorhome with no one, very understated, right? More like the big limousine look. Because there's an attitude change that says, you know what? I'm not a candidate anymore. And you do that as a business, so when do you become a business owner? When you decide you're a business owner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a great viewpoint. I would just piggyback on that, and I'm not going to go into a long thing because I can really delve deep in this because
I feel you.
I would just say that when it hurts so much that you're still working for someone else.
Yes.
That's when you jump full time into this.
Right.
When you can't figure any other way that you're going to be happy, you jump full steam into this.
Yeah.
No matter what the risk, no matter what's involved, you give your all at that point because you refuse to go back to that other thing. That's when you're ready.
Now, Gerald. Excuse me. I was going to ask you a question, Gerald, because I want you to touch on this because we talked about this before the show. Tell the viewers, what do you do? Because you know my story, what I did. What do you do? Do you ease back from your job, or do you just say, screw it, and just jump all the way in? Because if you jump all the way in, you better understand that you're jumping into a gladiator pit. Entrepreneurship is real. It's a very difficult area. Now, if you jump all the way in and you do not succeed on your first shot, emotionally, it's going to hurt. We all know that when you get emotionally hurt, that's deep. So, what's your?
I would say, as you said, one, to first make sure that it's something that you love enough that you will continue to push through. Because if you don't have a love for it, if you're doing it for the money, guess what? The first 3 times you get that rejection, you're going to stop because it's completely illogical for you to do something and you're not getting results and you don't like what you're doing and you want to continue it. It goes against your own basic survival instinct of wanting to do what's best for yourself. So I would say, one, have the love for it. Make sure that you do get some training, and also, if necessary, get somebody, a mentor or a coach in that industry, so that you can understand it better, so that you're more prepared that when you do take that jump, you're more ready for those challenges that come up. I do not want to ignore my brother Michael sitting over here.
No problem.
He's been very quiet. He's been very patient. I want him to know that I see him. So I'm not going to go into a sermon. I'll come back to that. But Michael, please tell us, when do you feel is the right timing, or is there right timing?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, I'm ringing from the UK. You can hear the English accent.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
I think all the ladies in the room love you a little more than they love all of us.
Okay, that's okay. In which case, it's the right time for me to jump into that market.
Yes. Jump in that market.
Yeah. So therefore, I'm ready.
All right, we'll get some props on that, right?
Yeah. But no, I mean, for me, it's very clear, because I advise businesses in this area, and for me, it's about understanding the value that you bring to the market. Because when you understand the value you bring, who you're bringing it for, you minimize your risk. Because what you're doing is you've actually given yourself a platform in which to sell. And I think we don't spend enough time understanding the market that we're jumping into. I think that when you actually take the time out to develop the market, because the thing about startup businesses is that they're not the same as regular businesses. A startup is searching for what it does well, whereas a regular business is playing that out already. And at the start, what we've got to do is that investigation period is critical. You know, what you've got to do is, as you're building up your audience and you're finding out the nuances and the dynamics, you are actually starting to reduce your risk. And as you reduce your risk, you get more comfortable. The energy you build around what you're doing transmits itself to its clients. It then feeds back to you that I can get comfortable now. I can start making these decisions on the basis that you're putting the groundwork in. And that is just the beginning. That is just the beginning, because it is graft all the way. But it's like anything else in life. It's about confidence. It's about believing in yourself, and you've got to have a doggedness as an entrepreneur. Yes. It's more about the quality and less about the hustle.
Absolutely.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
much more about the quality that you put into it, and about the belief. And I think that people will come with you once you're very clear that you're doing things with integrity. Then these are the things that feed back into yourself, that give you the confidence to make that leap. But you do have to understand who you appeal to, why you appeal to them, and how you can service that need, so that people, if you've got the type of business model where you know, okay, I'm building a customer for life here, and that's what we're trying to do. Well, again, I mean, I need to say it really depends on the type of marketplace that you're going into. Are you going into a business that's a business to business arena? Is it a business to the consumer arena? How are you going to build those relationships? For me, it starts by asking yourselves the right questions first. And
yes.
and the more of those questions that you can answer will determine the day you decide to start your business and take the jump.
Absolutely.
Hey, Michael.
That was a great answer. Go ahead, Anthony.
I'm sorry, because I gotta jump off here, Gerald, because this platform tonight is doing very well. But I want to touch on what you said. I'm backing you up 100% about quality. I think that people need to develop their quality to a high level, right, to an elite level, and I don't think enough people do so. But one thing I will say, in today's age, right, moving on to 2016, the aspect of hustle as far as exposure and building that exposure is very important. I think people need to go nuts once they have their quality as far as exposure and marketing and pushing on all social media platforms. Because I know we have some people that are just jumping into the world of being an entrepreneur. And once you are, confident that your quality is up to par, make sure that the world sees that at all times. Consistency is key. And I want to tell everyone that, and I tell all my clients that too many people are holding back a beautiful concept or a beautiful product or a beautiful service, and the world has no idea how awesome their product really is. So on the hustle aspect of it, maximum exposure and going 100 miles an hour once your product is really at a high quality.
Well, I think that important. It's a good point that you make, although what I think we got there is a little bit of language translation, because the interpretation of hustling in America is very different to what the word means here, because the word means hustle in a UK concept is more of a con, whereas what you're saying is hustle is the activity of getting busy, and I get that. And getting busy, there's nothing wrong with getting busy, because getting busy has got credibility behind it. Where I was coming from, when I use the term hustle, I'm talking about the person who's hustling. They're conning you. They're Let's say it's a different connotation. But I get you all the way. I understand
absolutely. I was going to say it's amazing the euphemisms that how they can change from just depending upon your geography in the world. And because my man Benny just said one of the best things I've heard tonight. He said, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. And he's talking about your ability to put in that work, because a lot of people think that because you have an idea and you think it's a great idea. I mean, honestly, we all think. Thank you, Anthony. I see you have to bow out. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. If you're about to go, but everybody has a dream. Everybody has something that they want to do. But do they have the wherewithal, the drive, and the persistence to do that thing at the level that they see, that they wish that they want to do it? So it is a very different thing to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this computer company about X. And then to actually go out and have the drive and the determination to knock on the doors, to take those no's, to make those phone calls, to pass out the flyers. When nobody is listening, are you still doing it? And a lot of people don't have that in them. They stop. They say, you know what? This is too much. This is too hard. But guess what? If you want that great reward, it's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be. As Eric Thomas always says, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So it's not supposed to be easy for you to build that dream, that thing that you see that no one else sees. And it's your job and it's your duty to make them see it if it's really what you want to manifest in this world. So I love what Benny said. So yeah, that is phenomenal. And I want to welcome another gypsy. He's been over there for a while, throwing it up in the corner. And we have so many great comments over here. Oh Lord, now I'm getting preached again. I am really going to end up being the Reverend Blam. That's what they're going to call me. Oh man!
That's right. What you're saying there, Gerald. I mean, I think that we have to understand that drive and determination come from the energy that we put into whatever it is that we're doing. And I think a lot of the time we don't operate with our own energy radars, because it's obvious when we're having a bad day. It's only us that can pull ourselves out of it. And, one of the things that I always advise clients is at any stage when something's going wrong, stop and check your energy. Check it. Check yourself. Sit back from it, because you need that space in which to clear your head, to go again. And very often we don't take that time, because actually life gets in the way. Business gets in the way. You know, business gets in the way of doing business.
Yes, it does.
You know, and that's something that we need to step back from. Embrace our energy, be aware of it, and change it. Because as soon as you change your energy, you change your results.
Very, very true. Very true. You know, you have to change not only your energy level, but the way you use your body. Everything, all of that can change your state. What you're talking about is a state change, and it's very important that people don't realize that we don't get depressed, we do depression. Don't do depression. Yeah. Don't do anger. You know, you're choosing that. So I'm not going to go into the psychological aspects of it right now, but because I want to let another gypsy get a chance, and definitely get my man Scott another chance to say what he feels about this subject. So another gypsy, how are you, and what are you feeling about what we're talking about?
Hey, how you doing, guys? How you doing? I've been watching this, watching this blab from the beginning. It's really inspired me. I guess I'm coming from a perspective of somebody who really is and truly is beginning a business, and I think the problem at hand that we come across is finding the resources to the business that we have. I guess we can say finding the investors, finding the people that we need to get around, because we can't just go sit at a bar someday and get lucky and find somebody who, you know, who's into what we do. You know, we have to really get out here and try to find the true resources that we need to get our business started. And I think that is one of the biggest problems at hand, finding the information that we truly need to get our business started. And
okay, so let me ask you this, because you got three people on here. I don't want to get into coaching necessarily right now.
Not even coaching.
No, brother. I'm saying I want to help you. That's what I'm saying. I want to give my man Scott a chance to speak, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, because I challenge the fact that yes, it is very difficult starting a business if you don't have the resources. But there are other ways that you can kind of get around some of those situations that are holding you back, is the point I was going to get to. But I want to give Scott an opportunity to speak his piece. So,
you know, I came in on culture. I mean, we'll come back to that another night, I'm sure. Right. Yes. You know, because that's a big subject. It's got a lot of opportunities. When do you make that jump? That's kind of when I got started on here. But now another gypsy. What's your name? What's your first name?
Jonathan. I'm sorry. That's my band's name. I'm sorry.
Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan. All right, man.
Hey, how you doing?
It's good to meet you. Thanks for the props too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is a great platform. So I tell you what, money is never the problem, right?
Yes.
Is that agreed? Can everyone say we can get an amen? We can get an amen. Yes. Money is never the problem. If you have the right story, if you have the right message,
the value,
then the value proposition, right?
Absolutely.
Again, is there a problem? Is there a solution? And then is there someone willing to pay for it? And if there's money to be made, then people are willing to get involved in it. So you've got to be able to clarify what that is.
There you go.
Right.
Yes.
You tell that story, and the money is there, because people will be buying it. And if people are buying it, there's someone willing to help you. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mike,
hey, let me make room. I know.
Okay. Yeah. We got a couple
Jimmy down here.
Well, I appreciate.
I'd push him
in. I appreciate you so much for stepping up, Scott. Man, you've added a lot of value here. Let's stay connected.
You can take me off.
No, because we want to help. I don't want you to go anywhere right now. So you please stay right there. Thank you, Scott.
Folks, we'll chat, y'all. I'm following. I'm clicking. We're following. Right? We're all in this together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And I always like to end when I give talks is it's not about making money. It's about living a life that makes a difference.
Yeah.
That is so true. And Scott, if you would, the thing I want to do that's different on this blab than what most blabs are, I want to remind everybody that comes up. I forgot, a lot of people jumped out too quick. Please put a link so that if people want to connect with you, to whatever website you have or whatever you do. So that way, if people want to follow you there, ask more questions, please do that. So I appreciate you, Scott. Thank you. And
all right, thanks. I'll put a note in the comments there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, we'll be listening. We'll follow you.
All right. Excellent.
Take care.
All right. And Michael, now, what is it that you would like to add? I saw your face when he said what he said, so I know Michael has something that he'd like to probably say to you, Jonathan.
I mean, I think the one thing I would say to you is that when it comes to resources, you have to understand that whatever it is you need, it is out there, and it's a case of treating the investor like they're a customer, because when they can see the value in getting involved in what you do, that is when, and I think Scott put it nicely, it's what's the story, it's why should I get involved in this, and the why should I get involved in this is a conversation that you have before money gets involved. You know, money isn't the subject, the amount isn't the subject, it is what is it? What's the idea? What's the proposition? How is this going to enhance lives? What's it going to do? Because the payback very often is not money. It's something greater. Money may be the instrument that helps you to get there, but actually the essence of the ideas and the concepts are normally something else. And it's nailing that something else and presenting it in a way that people understand the value that will make the difference. I think that we've spent too much time in society focusing on the numbers, and ultimately they mean nothing. They really don't mean a thing. What happens is people still buy people in this world. Thank God they do that, because that is what it is. At the end of the day, it is about confidence. It's about knowing that, is this person going to do do I think this person is going to do what they say they're going to do? Absolutely. And if you can show me, and you can transmit the integrity and the belief that you can do that, the rest follows.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And they're touching on exactly what I was going to relay anyway. You know, I was going to say, you know, the question is never about the resources, Jonathan. It's always about your resourcefulness. How bad do you really want this? Because I'll give you an example just to put something in your head, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If, let's see, do you have children? You look a little young, so
I'm very young. Yeah. No, I don't have any children.
Okay, so how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
25.
Okay, excellent. All right, are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? Things of that.
Well, you know, I have a girlfriend, but you know, I'm not married and nothing like that.
All right, don't be shy, man. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Don't be scared, man. This is about helping one another, so don't be scared. You know, this is about helping you. But do you have a sibling that you're really close to, like brother or sister?
Yeah, my sister.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to you, just to really ingrain this example for you. If somebody kidnapped your sister, now you're talking about struggling right now, right? Like the financial part, and you can't find the money to grow your business the way you want to.
And inspiring others to that's around me to, you know, kind of get going or whatever.
So here's the example I want to give you. So if somebody kidnapped you, don't have like $25,000 laying around anywhere. So if somebody kidnapped your sister and told you, you better give me $25,000 or your sister is dead, how hard and how much would you push to get that $25,000 in those next 3 days? Because somebody's life depends on it. So if you hustle in your business like your life depends on it, you will find a way to do something that will change the course of your business. See, we don't put that same emphasis into the things that are about us. You know, when we look externally at, oh man, they're trying to do something to my sister, but they're trying to do something to your future if you aren't doing what you should be doing for yourself. And so you have to have that same type of dogged mentality when you approach your business. So don't take no for an answer. No is not an acceptable answer. I don't know is not an acceptable answer. You can be creative enough, funny enough, and find a way to find someone that you can utilize your service, and you will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, will you push through that own barrier that you've put there, that I don't have the resources, that these people, you know, I can't inspire, the people around me aren't of the like mindset and stuff. The answer to that is to change the people around you. If you can't change the people around you, change the people you are around. That's a very, very simple answer to that. So,
and I also think, Gerald, to reinforce what you're saying, I mean, I've been practicing as a consultant for the best part of 35 years. And for me, the number one killer for entrepreneurs in my career of advising has been procrastination.
Yes.
That is and people procrastinate, dare I say it, for all the right reasons, but that doesn't make it right. You know, it's because they're afraid to, or I didn't want to ask that, or I need this. So those become the reasons not to do something. And when they realize that it was only a little step over there, and just by making that step, you've actually moved, and the perspective changes as soon as you move. As soon as you start moving, everything changes, and we've also got to be satisfied with taking small steps, because they are progress. They represent progress. I think what happens in entrepreneurship is that people are looking for the big leap. And when the big leap doesn't come, they get dissatisfied. What they need to learn is how to enjoy every little bit of success. Celebrate each step that you make towards your goal. It will make a difference, because it won't be too long before you're looking backwards and realize how far you've come.
Absolutely. So did that help you at all, Jonathan?
Yeah, it did. This is so great. Like you guys just don't know. Like I'm so inspired right now. Like,
well, the thing I would like to do, and then I'm going to let my brother just came in over here. I'm going to let him say something to you before we let you get down. I would like to honestly thank you for your courage and just stepping up,
Jonathan.
You know,
yeah, man, it was hard to do this.
It takes a lot to take that first step to say, hey, look, I need help, because a lot of times when we're doing the entrepreneurship thing, we think we can figure it out on our own. But the fact that you were willing to step up and say, hey, look, I just need some help. I need some guidance. That is the first step in the right direction of changing your life, brother. So I would definitely want to thank you for having the courage to step up.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to shoot out, Gerald, but I'm sure that you guys will see me again. It's 2:30 in the morning over here in the UK.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get some sleep. I thank Benny for his little comment there, telling me I speak elegantly. But I'll definitely look out. I'll definitely look out for you guys again.
Absolutely.
And in fact, I'm going to be in your time zone. I'm popping down to Grenada in about a week's time.
Okay.
So I'm going to be down there for a month, so I'll definitely hook up, and we'll be at much more of the same time zone.
Oh yes. Oh, all right. And definitely, look, we're going to be doing this thing on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm really trying to do this greater clock thing because I really want people to get the help that they need in business and be able to pour into people on a regular basis. So
well, look out for us, because we run another entrepreneurs group on Blab as well. So we'll hook up and keep keep sharing the love, because
Absolutely.
you know that that visuality amongst us is key, and there are enough of us out there that if we network, we can really help raise profiles in a positive way, and I'm all for that.
Yes, absolutely, and as am I. So we're following each other already. Let's stay connected.
Yeah.
And if you can drop a link over there, that would be great. So people, if they want to reach you, they can reach you as well. So thank you, brother, and you have a great evening. All right.
Take care.
Thank you, Michael.
Take care.
All right. Now, my brother, please give the introduction, Mr. Charlotte Socials 360. This is my man. I met him earlier, so he's going to introduce himself, and I think he wants to pour a little bit into you as well, Jonathan.
Yeah, well, thank you, Reverend Gerald. Or Pastor Gerald, I should say. Well, Jonathan, how are you? My name is Thomas Clark. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, man. How about you, man?
I'm excellent. I'm wonderful. I'm blessed on a daily basis. All I wanted to say to you, I mean, you're a young man, and I guess I heard a lot of things when you started talking about, especially the resources that struck a chord with me. And I guess one of the things I'd like to ask you, when you say resources, what resources, is there any specific resources outside of money, which is always the one that everybody, that you feel like you don't have access to, or is it?
I guess people to guide me in the right way, because Gerald said something that's really struck, is that I feel like, I feel like I can only do things right. Like I feel like I can't get a good team around me to build my business, and it's only just a few of us around. Like we need more people who are like-minded, just like we are. Like it's like not even money, just people who could.
Well, part of the thing is, I'm certainly actually, Jonathan, you could be my son. Actually, I'm just thinking, look at how young you are.
Yeah, man.
In fact, I have children. I have children older than you. But anyway. But I guess that just proves I'm an old man. I guess the
only old as you feel. Only old as you feel, Thomas.
Absolutely. But I guess the thing sometimes, and it sounds cold and crass, sometimes you got to fire your friends, right, or associates or colleagues, right? Because you got to surround yourself with people that really are helping your vision, right? I mean, if you got somebody constantly a weight bringing you down, and I don't mean, well, see, family is family. Sometimes you only can fire them temporarily, or you can love them from a distance, as I say. But
well, you can definitely put them on suspension. You can put them on suspension.
Right. That's right. You may need to change them. You know what I'm saying? Because you need that positive energy around you, because there are some highs and lows. It's like a roller coaster in entrepreneurship and just in life in general. So, I mean, just kind of look around you. I mean, just think about it. The people that are surrounding you, are they supportive? Are they helping you along? Are they making suggestions about helping you in your business? Or are they saying, they naysayers? You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. That kind of a thing. My wife just actually came in and told me I was talking loud, but I guess I'll better quiet down a little bit. I was getting excited there for a second.
Yeah.
all I would say to you, Jonathan, it is, you have to kind of network, and if you feel yourself getting low, go out, reach out to people, establish networks where you can get that boost. I mean, because sometimes we all need a boost. I mean, because it's just a tough world we live in, right? Like I said, you're 25 years old, you're trying to start business, and I mean, you really, I think that's admirable, be honest with you. I mean, I don't know many 25-year-olds that even have that much forethought to even think about starting a business.
Absolutely.
And thank you, man. Thank you so much. I want to get down because I'm really sweating right now. Like I'm nervous up here. Like,
hey, man, look. Don't be nervous, because this is a first step. This is a very important step, and whether you realize it or not, you're in front of people from all over the world. Like we just had my man Michael. He's from the UK. You have Thomas here, right here. He's from Charlotte. I'm from DC. You got Benny in New York. You got people everywhere listening to you. So this is an opportunity. Don't see now. Never let an opportunity pass you, because I'm going to tell you this. Robert Kiyosaki has this little acronym that poor is passing over opportunities repeatedly. So this is an opportunity for you to have people that may be able to help you, give you some advice, give you some guidance, and you should take that chance, because nobody's looking down on you here. Everybody really is supporting you, and that's what you want. You wanted the support, which is the only reason that you came up here, so that nobody's kind of there looking down on you. They're looking to support you here. So take the support while you have it, because you're missing that in your life.
I mean, make sure you follow everybody, myself included. Gerald, everybody, the gentleman from the UK. I mean, because I think I thought it was interesting with Michael, because he had even just the word hustler. Because even sometimes here in the U.S., I mean, it's just certain things change from region to region, state to state. Like if you say soda in the Southeast or the East, in the Midwest they say pop. So I mean, it's just sometimes it's just interesting to hear a global perspective, because we are in a global economy, and in the world we're in now. I mean, especially social media. I mean, you're selling to a global marketplace. I mean, I think it's exciting. I mean, to me, it's exciting. I just get excited when I think about it.
It absolutely is. And the thing that we haven't done, what is it that you do, Jonathan? What?
Yeah. Well, I have my own makeup company. I don't do makeup, but I have a team of girls around me that do makeup, and we send the girls out to people's houses instead of them coming to the shop and having to wait in line and stuff like that. We send them kind of like a Uber service, where you call and we send them out to you, and you get your makeup done and your hair done and stuff like that. So that's what we do. But
so do
I have to keep them motivated.
And the service, then, I'm assuming.
Just the service, not the product.
Okay.
We don't deal with products.
Okay, that's an awesome idea, man. I mean, how long have you been at it, and where do you want it to go?
Probably a year now. I would like it to be global. It's just kind of hard getting it off the tracks. Keeping people motivated. A lot of people just think about money and not actually the service that we providing, and stuff like that, man.
Well, you want to know what that problem is right there, and this is the sales trainer in me coming out. So I'm about to tell you. Here's a little gem. Seriously, if people are complaining about the money you're charging, it's because you are not presenting yourself with enough value that they feel that is worth it. Now, it's different if they say they can't afford it. Like wow, that's like really cool. I want it, but I can't pay for it. Versus why are you charging so much? You see, that's coming from two different places. So
have you benchmarked similar services, Jonathan? Is there anyone with similar services that you watch or benchmark?
I don't really. I just know for people to go to the shop and get their makeup done and their hair done and stuff like that.
Okay,
I don't really know for people to send people out. Yeah.
So what do you do a little different than for somebody to go into Macy's or Neiman Marcus or wherever to get it done in your service? And is there, because sometimes when people say you're expensive, what are they comparing it to, right? You always got to kind of ask your question, what are they comparing it to, right? So I think that's kind of part of your psyche. You have to kind of understand, are they comparing it? I just go into Nordstrom to get it done free, and they sell me, $250 worth of makeup, or what are they comparing? Or, are they seeing it as a value, right? I mean, I think that's the value proposition is a key here in what you're doing. Are you going to people's offices, right? If you got a busy executive, you got a lot of very top flight women CEOs and, others, that would probably love it if you come to their office, right? Or something in nature.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to provide. Yeah, that's the business we're trying to provide.
So my thing would be, you have a lot of people supporting you, brother. I mean, just look over at the comments. You see all these people trying to help you.
Yeah, I couldn't even really go and read. I'm gonna go and read them.
You got to take this stuff in. Like, honestly, what Benny has a great point. And I wish my brother could get on. I know he's on the boat right now. Big time. Bishop Benny's on the boat right now. But he saying that celebrity and wealthy people would love what you do. Stop selling to broke people. You're in the wrong market. Basically, that's a nice way of saying you're in the wrong market. Are you marketing to your audience? And your audience directly affects your bottom line. If you take a great product to the wrong audience, you won't make money.
Yep.
But you take a great product to the right audience, it is a natural effect that you will make money because you're giving them the value that they want. See, people that don't want to pay for your service, and obviously you're having that challenge, you're continuously going to those same type of people. You need to find the business executives. Take yourself to some networking events. Dress well because you're talking to executives, and they're going to expect you to reflect an image that allows you to be able to approach them about that type of service. You can't go in there just chilling. You have to go in there like them, reflect the image of to whom you're trying to sell. So that's very, very important.
Sure. That's great advice. That's very great. That's good advice.
Thank you.
Do you live in, where do you live, Jonathan?
Atlanta.
Jonathan, where do you live?
In Atlanta.
Oh, wow. You got a huge market there. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So say for example, you found a corporate executive and she lived in Boston. What would you do? Do you have like a 1099, or do you have makeup artists that would be nearby? I mean, how do you?
And that's we're trying to expand, like, because I'm still trying to reach the outer regions of Atlanta, of the metro area of Atlanta, because you still have your outer cities and stuff like that. And then we're going to try to move, outwards to different states and stuff.
Oh, like man, you got a bunch of Fortune 500, you got celebrities, reality show people. You got a bunch of folks in Atlanta, man. I that's just me. I think I'd get grounded in Atlanta, and then I'd go out to Chicago and New York and Boston and all these other places.
That is definitely exactly what I was about to say. You have to get home taken care of first. Right. You can't start trying to grow too fast, because that's a mistake that a lot of young businesses make. Do not try to grow it too fast. Grow it in your local market. Show it's a proven system, and then you can maybe even license this idea. So many different ways you can go with this, where you can have franchise it off, where people are doing it for you and they're just paying you that franchising fee, and you get a small royalty off of everything they do every month. It's so many different ways to go. But first, lock into who your clients are. Go where your clients are. Develop that client base and develop a great reputation that will precede you when you go into those other markets, because the people in Atlanta have friends in Chicago. Sure. I'm sure some people have some friends in New York. Sure. Some people have some friends in DC. So you have to market and present it to those people so that they become your advocates.
Yeah. I'm just thinking out loud here, somebody like, Nene Leakes. I'm just thinking of her. She's in Atlanta, right? Do her, it's free. Shoot, if she would blab about it or Periscope about it, man, could you imagine what that would be? If she said, I think this guy did a phenomenal job, you need to check out so-and-so. I'm just saying out loud, obviously you can't do much of that. You're in the business to make money, but somehow you got to sort of kickstart your own business right there in Atlanta. And I think you got a great territory there, man. I don't know. I'm excited for you, actually.
Oh man, thank you, man. Thank you, man. All right,
you can get down now, brother. I see you're still nervous. We appreciate you, man, for stepping up, and step up and stand out, though. That's going to be my final word of advice, man. You've had.
And thank you so much, man.
And Jonathan, if you ever, I'll just leave the door open. If you ever want to just talk or want to strategize or share some ideas or get some insight, at least from my experience, and if I can't help you, I'll certainly open you up to my network of associates and friends that can certainly help you in whatever, if I don't know that particular area. So, certainly just reach out, DM, it's a lot of ways to get in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
We're going to put some links in here. So if you want to reach out to me, actually, it's right on my profile. So if you click on me, you'll see it right there, and you can go there. You can schedule an appointment, all that type of stuff. But this isn't about selling. This was about helping you through a mental block right here. So I hope that we helped you some. Please.
You did. You really did. You really did. So, all right,
thanks,
Gerald. I hope I didn't take you off your thing here. I hope.
No, you didn't. Actually, we're almost at the 2-hour mark. This thing was supposed to be like an hour, and it kind of took on a life of its own. And it's great when we can help somebody that needs the help.
Yeah,
and you can see the change for someone immediately. That's why that's why I wanted to do this type of platform. That's why I wanted to do something like this. You know, that young brother has something great. He just needs to figure out his methodology, and he will be able to go from where he is to having an actual business. So, you know, I remember I started my first company. I was 26 years old. I couldn't figure out nothing. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I was good at what I did previously, but I just jumped in because I didn't want to work for anybody else.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that you decided that at such a young age. I can't say that I decided that. I worked for a number of companies until one day I just got to the point I'm like, God, you know, I'm just not happy with this. Yeah, where you talk about, I love your pain analogy. I guess the pain just got so great. I had a boss that was just managed me like I was like in slavery or something. I'm thinking, okay, this is just not gonna work for me.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what it was for me. That's what actually pushed me to do it, because you know, I just got to a point where I realized that my ladder was leaning on the wrong building. Corporate America, I was never going to earn what I felt that I was worth, because I had somebody actually devalue me to my ear, not to my face, because he wasn't going to do that. You know, I'm not no little guy. So he called on the phone and just basically told me that I don't care how much money you make me, I will never see you make X amount of dollars. And I said, that's it. Never will anybody else be able to tell me what I'm worth ever again in life.
Wow, that was probably a revelation for you, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, because see, I haven't went into my story on this blab, and I'm getting ready to go off the record. So let me close this off the record, and we'll keep the conversation going. But I'm going to turn the conversation, the recording off. So I thank everybody for tuning in to Great O'Clock and joining part of the conversation of the gloom and gold of entrepreneurship. I hope all of you all that were part of this got something out of it, because I got a lot out of it and actually learned a lot from everybody that has contributed. So I'll close this as I always do when I talk to my friends, my family, and people around me. We choose what type of life we have by the choices that we make. So I hope you all choose to be exceptional. See you all on Wednesday.